Folks, welcome into That Betting Show for April 11th, 2019, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs in under 20 minutes or less. Today, we mean it. He's Teddy Savransky. Give him a follow at Teddy_Covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at Rightside VP. Let's get right into it. National holiday in the golfing community, Teddy. The Masters is underway. Taking a look as we're filming now, the early leaderboard. There's a guy named Connors, Teddy, in first place. Not Jimmy Connors. It's Corey Connors from Canada. Wise, 2 under. Harding, 2 under. Kazari, 2 under. Tiger Woods, even par. Teddy, it's Masters Thursday, and here we go.
So this is my question for you, okay? I'm not a natural golf guy, but I have to ask. Tiger Woods hasn't been relevant on the golf scene in any way for more than a decade, and yet, you look at ESPN this morning, Tiger, look what Tiger's doing. Tiger's the headlines, plus 1,400. One of the favorites to win the Masters. Is Tiger worth anything nowadays? Is Tiger in contention in this tournament? I mean, why all the Tiger talk when we got Rory and DJ to talk about?
No, Teddy, look, this is unrehearsed out here, people. And I've done many shows here on sportsbookreview.com, and I'm the guy that wears the red, and I'm the Tiger hater out here, Teddy. My running joke always goes, if you see Tiger Woods is 14-1, his real odds, you're supposed to add a 0 behind there at 140-1, Teddy.
Did you do anything for the Masters? I personally don't do a lot with golf, so I'm not involved. Did you make any wagers?
No, only wagers I actually have, Teddy, is I'm trying to become a millionaire. So DraftKings, you put in your golf lineup, and I always avoid Tiger Woods because I believe that does give me, Teddy, the best chance to be a millionaire.
Sure. Well, the Masters going now. We'll talk a little bit more about Masters coverage later in the show. Obviously, that's been an issue here on Thursday, something that you don't see for most of the big sporting events here in the USA.
And Teddy, when we usually talk about ratings, and we'll get into the Master stuff here, but obviously the interesting thing apart, Tiger Woods tees off at 11 o'clock. Everybody is focused on his every move. And just like we said, we joke around. You see the leaderboard even early while we're filming it here. Connors is 3 under. I haven't seen this guy hit a shot yet on TV for all the highlights. It's Tiger. It's Tiger. It's Tiger.
I mean, and the incredible, Tiger's last major win came in 2008.
Yes.
Correct. I mean, this guy literally hasn't been all that relevant in the golf scene for a decade, and yet he's still the biggest name in golf, which certainly to the casual fan, by far the biggest name in golf. We haven't seen the Rorys and the Justins and the DJs take over in terms of name recognition, in terms of overall branding, the way that Tiger Woods did when he took the golf world by storm 20 years ago.
Look at you guys out there watching live coverage right now that we're going here on That Betting Show. And Teddy and I just became best friends over a Tiger Woods agreement here. Let's keep it moving. The NBA field is set. Now, we don't have any games to talk about technically yet for Friday's show. We're going to set you up for the weekend. The odds will be out. We'll be able to go over some futures and markets that we're going to take a look at right now. But last night, Teddy, we talked about the Pistons coming into the game versus the New York Knicks. Heavy favorites coming in back-to-back nights. Banged up superstar player. Didn't matter last night. Knicks said, you know what? We'll take that top pick and we'll like it and we'll head off onto the golf course.
Yeah. The Knicks didn't exactly show for their home finale. Coming off back-to-back wins, we're not about to make it 3 in a row against a Blake Griffin-less Pistons. We don't have point spreads yet. Certainly not. There's one book that posted them this morning, but I'm expecting these lines to jump around. I'm not going to give you guys bad point spreads by the time you see them. They'll have moved all over the place. We do, however, have future book numbers to talk about. And when you look at the Eastern Conference, the Bucks plus 165, the Raptors plus 220, the Sixers plus 260, the Celtics plus $3. There's no legitimate favorite there. The Eastern Conference is absolutely wide open, in sharp contrast to the West, where Golden State minus 335 to come out. Everybody's a big dog to the Warriors in the West.
Hey, Ted, if we take a look at that Western Conference, because, we saw them get into trouble. Maybe if not for a Chris Paul injury, they don't get, back-to-back championships, looking to extend it to a third. If we're looking at a minus 335, value is in the eye of the beholder. You can crunch the numbers. You can say, yes, they're the best team overall. But is this a team that you feel should merit the minus 335? Or is there some avenues out there? The Rockets playing good basketball. Can the Nuggets recover plus 900? There are some big chunks you can take out in the Western Conference.
There are. In my mind, it's unbettable because Golden State deserves to be huge chalk, and I'm not going to lay minus 335 on the Warriors versus the field. It really is, from a future book standpoint, the NBA stinks right now because the Warriors are what they are. There's no value betting on them. And, Yeah, okay, there's value betting against them, but do you want to bet against, I got a whole drawer full of tickets that have great value. Oh, yeah, look at this value bet. Knock yourself out on your value bets going against Golden State. They're the chalk for a reason. So very difficult for me to get involved in the future market. The series prices are what I'm looking forward to for the NBA playoffs. I think that's the best way to attack the future book in the postseason, one series at a time.
And obviously, we said there is no NBA action tonight. We'll set you up tomorrow getting ready because the NBA playoffs do kick off on Saturday for a seemingly endless first round, since we like to get every single game on TV at their own time. But it should be a lot of fun, should be a grind. And there's some money to be made in the NBA playoffs, and we'll take a look. But how about on Wednesday? You want to talk about money to be made or money to be lost, Teddy? How about those Philadelphia Phillies riding high? Everybody's love here in Philadelphia. Then they come out and get clowned last night by the Nationals. The Nationals were a plus 145 ticket and made it look easy right off the bat in the first inning, 3-0 quick. It ends up in a 15-1 game. And that Phillies potent lineup, Teddy, only posts 1 run and 3 hits. But I remember you talking quite a bit here over the last month when we were going over the previews, Teddy, in Major League Baseball. Phillies only got 1 run, and it still went way over the total at Citizens Bank Park.
Yeah, and I had an over ticket in my pocket. You know I did, Donnie. The Phillies over has been a consistent source for me so far this season. And last night's result didn't change that. Okay, 1 run, 3 hits, doesn't matter. They gave up 15. It was the highest scoring game of the day. But the game we really got to talk about yesterday was the Angels. There was a 50+ cent line move on the Angels after Mike Trout was officially ruled out. I had an opportunity to talk to a odds maker yesterday. He said, how much is Mike Trout really worth? He said, you can make a case he's worth 15, 16, maybe even 18 cents. The line moved 50 cents. I'll give you, honestly, one piece of advice I can give you that will make you money. Any move of 50 cents or more in MLB, auto-faded. Bet the other way at the right before tip-off or right before the first pitch. You'll make money. That happened yesterday. If you bet the Angels without Mike Trout, well, guess what? No Trout, no problem. Pena throws well for LA, and the Angels bullpen behind him continues to overachieve.
You know what's amazing about that, Teddy? Because, usually the quarterback Aaron Rodgers goes down, Tom Brady goes down. You see that big line swing, and it usually merits it. It wasn't a pitching change where we're going from like Chris Sale to some AA player who's just going to be thrown up, in the lineup for maybe 2 to 3 innings to see if he can hold his own. A 50-cent line, at some point the value starts to turn opposite. But for one player, and also, Teddy, we're talking about a team on the road that got steamed up 50 cents.
Sure, and it's not like the Angels. The Angels had their very rough start. They played much better over the last week. Okay, no Trout, no problem. And I'm not talking about a pitching change, but there's a pitching change. The line, all the early wagers are gone unless you had no listed pitchers, and then it's a new line. I'm talking about when to fading 40, 50-cent moves, just where the markets are going nuts. Markets are like, no, this is the right side. No, this is definitely the right side. No, this is really, really, really the right side. We'll bet it even 40 cents after it's been moved. Knock yourselves out, guys. I like to fade those moves, and long term, you will see a profit fading, betting against the biggest line moves in MLB.
Hey, Teddy, last night we talked about it prefacing on the show. You saw a nice little line movement there on Yu Darvish and the Cubs last night. You saw the windy forecast, the wind blowing in. The game does stay under the total. 7.5s were prevalent out there, but a lot of 7s were there. So worst case scenario, you probably pushed. But again, not a good look for Darvish. Yeah, it's hard for a pitcher to get. I understand. It's bad weather. It is what it is. You're making a lot of money, and the Cubs are struggling out of the gate, and they're waiting for Darvish to come around. And it just seems like he hasn't been able to do that yet.
No, he hasn't. And again, the markets were in love with Darvish yesterday. The weather certainly factored into that. I haven't given up on Darvish. Management hasn't given up on Darvish. The betting market's pretty close to giving up on you, Darvish, right now. 3 losses as chalk already this season.
Overnight line movers, Teddy, as we know, SBRodds.com, the single place on the internet to go check those line movements, changing each and every day. We saw it right there yesterday, Teddy. That line rip, you could watch it go all the way down once Mike Trout was announced out. That line got away from it, but you can track all these movements once again at SBRodds.com through sportsbookreview.com. Boston line on the rise. Markets opened at minus 180. Now we're seeing as high as minus 195. Blue Jays and Red Sox going to take it underway today in Fenway, minus 195. Total of 9.5. Sanchez and Eovaldi on the mound tonight.
Yeah, and the markets are saying that Boston's not as bad as they've looked. I mean, that's what this is about. And again, the Sale pitched on Tuesday, pitched well, and then all of a sudden, boom, gave it up to Toronto. And the quote after that game, this wasn't us not playing good. This was me sucking today. That meant something to me. I mean, all right, Boston's not hopeless. This isn't going to go on forever. The Blue Jays aren't very good. And the markets are saying today is the day the Red Sox get on track. Not my money, I'll put it that way, but I can certainly understand why the markets are moving in that direction. Toronto facing a focused Boston team with a solid hurler on the hill, likely to face an uphill battle in today's ballgame.
Braves Mets, Teddy, battle the NL East here. The hot Braves down in hot Atlanta. Markets open up around 8.5. Now we're seeing it at 9. When we posted the show a little bit earlier, Teddy, the Braves were favored at -132. Now we're seeing some splits out here. Pinnacle Offshore -123 +113. Chris -126 +114. So we even have some movement on that. Mats versus Gaussman tonight on the mound in a battle of the NL East.
Yeah, and I mean, certainly from a total standpoint, we talk a lot about where the numbers are moved. We don't talk a lot about what key numbers are in MLB. And when it comes to totals, there is no keyer number than the number 9. Just like in football, when the line's open, somebody opens 2.5, you know where the line's going to go. Boom, they're going to bet it up to 3 right off the bat. Line opens 3.5, boom, they're going to bet it down to 3. All they're doing is capturing the key numbers working in their favor. That's what the wise guys are trying to do in those situations. You'll see a lot of that with MLB totals as well. When they're lined 8.5, you'll often see over money pushing it up to 9. When they're lined at 9.5 overnight, you'll often see under money pushing it back down to 9. Of course, all that being said, the Mets lineup is on fire. Mickey Callaway. I think our offense has been able to pick up and get us to where we're at. I'm pretty excited where we're at, given how we pitched. They'll pick up the slack and get it going here. The Mets, 5 runs or more in every game but one. 32 runs scored the last 4 games. No surprise at all. We've seen over money for this one, despite a matchup of 2 pretty good-looking starting pitchers, in theory, on the hill.
Watch what you bet here on Thursday. Hide the women and children. Do not adjust your sets right now. Do not change the channel or adjust your computers right now. Donnie and Teddy about to talk a little bit of hockey here as it takes center stage on Thursday. Maple Leafs and the Bruins. Bruins are favored at -133. Total of 6, 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's NBC Sportsnet, live from the TD Bank Garden in Massachusetts. Obviously in Boston. Maple Leafs this year, Teddy, 46-36 on the season. 1-3 in the month of April. Frederik Andersen is going to get the start tonight for Toronto. The Bruins, 49-33, 2-1 in April. Tuukka Rask going to be in the net tonight for those mighty Bruins.
Okay, this is what I know about hockey, okay? I know that Toronto is one of the original 6. I know that Toronto basically hasn't been a competitive franchise in the NHL since the original 6 stopped being the original 6. And the Blue Jays, the Maple Leafs have been bottom non-contenders, basically, for the better part of the last 50 years. Last year, Boston beats Toronto in 7 games. They beat them 3-1 in the season series this year. The Bruins, the second best record in the Eastern Conference this season. Leafs finished 5th. You see the quotes from Toronto, Coach Mike Babcock. We really believe we're going to be prepared. We got a lot of people back. We feel we'll be rested and ready to go. We're excited about the opportunity. We look forward to going to Boston. This much I know. Based on history, I don't want the Maple Leafs. Bruins or pass for this better for this series. As for game 1, you tell me, Donnie, you got any nuances? Because I got no nuances when it comes to game 1 of the series.
Yeah, the only nuance I had is obviously with the Philadelphia Flyers, we're now sitting out of it, Teddy. We had to look at that. See, that betting show, we had to dig deep right there and get you through it. It's a Thursday. Most people are off at this time, Teddy. We're putting in this hard work today, bringing the people NHL hockey talk here. Now we can switch it back over to Major League Baseball. Rainy night in the Windy City. I'll tell you, it's been raining on the Cubs parade all year long. 3-8 on the season. Quintana Musgrove going to tee it up there in Chicago. Cubs currently sitting at -133. Last night, ugly loss for them again. Can the Pirates get it done, Teddy? Is this a bounce-back day for those Chicago Cubbies?
Boy, and where you want to talk about a line move, total 10.5. Look at it now. Bet down to 10. Bet down to 9.5. So I'm seeing 9s across the board. Why? 20-mile-hour winds blowing directly in from center field. And when the wind is blowing in at Wrigley, you don't want 10.5s, you don't want 10s, you don't want 9.5s. Frankly, you don't want 9s. The market's moving significantly on this ballgame. It's going to be warmer than it was last night, but there's a good chance for these, the drizzly, rainy conditions. And with that wind blowing in, not going to be easy for balls to get out of Wrigley this evening. It's a Cubs team that's 3-8 right now. And nothing's going right. Quintana hasn't been good so far this season. He got a good track record against Pittsburgh, but he's coming off a disastrous start against the Brewers, a team that knows him well. Pirates were able to hit yesterday, and Joe Musgrave, brilliant in his last outing. 7 scoreless innings, struck out 8 against Cincinnati. He was able to dominate the Cubs repeatedly. 1.80 ERA in 3 career starts against them, 17 strikeouts in 20 innings. I can understand why there's a little bit of Pittsburgh money, and I certainly can understand why there's been under money coming in a day where going to be very hard pressed to see fly balls go out of the park.
Amazing, Teddy, when you watch Wrigley Field. I mean, one of the few venues in all of sport that literally, if the wind is blowing out or in, could mean as much as 3 runs on the actual total. So we'll keep an eye on that as the windy conditions are there in the Windy City. Off the mic segment today, Teddy. Old man's going to yell at cloud right now. I don't understand this. And since 2002, they actually now film the back nine at the Masters. It's the single best tournament in golf. And yet the biggest players are teeing off, Teddy. And you don't get live coverage until 3 o'clock. And now if you say, hey, well, millennials, we could stream it, and we got these packages online that you can do. I want it on my big screen TV, Teddy. Tell me why. I can't.
You can't because the Masters is behind the times. What can I tell you? I mean, the NCAA tournament games are on all day, every day. Masters would I don't know if they're going to get those kind of ratings. Golf's boring. But I agree with the assessment. There's nothing on TV right now better than the Masters. Why they don't start from the get-go, you can't give me a good reason. I don't know why. Obviously, money's a piece of it, but the Masters is a different animal. It deserves as much TV coverage as it can get, Donnie. I'll agree with you on this one and on Tiger Woods. So how about that? We get to agree twice today.
Look at that, absolutely. And when you take it, and again, people that are making these decisions are obviously much smarter than me and more skilled in the overall TV rankings and ratings. But you can't tell me, Teddy, that the midday Sports Center showing highlights last night of 15 games is going to get better ratings than going live to the Masters. If you were put it on your thinking cap right now, what would you think is the reason why they say, you know what, we'll hold off till 3, we're good?
Money. Maybe I don't know what the agreements are with the Masters. Maybe the Masters all right, you can put it on TV, but pay us more. Sports Center's free. Not free, but they've already paid for it. You know what I mean? So it may be the added cost of the Masters. I can't tell you, Donnie. I don't know. It's above my pay grade.
No, you're certainly right, because it's one of the great mysteries. Obviously, it should be on all day, and we did equate it to the NCAA tournament. But also, one of the greater mysteries in life for me, Teddy, that I haven't quite figured out yet, is how the Dish Network has the ticket, and it's just not available to cable. I always say to myself, the billions of dollars that the NFL can add additionally if you just make it viable over cable. But there must be a reason for that as well, too, right?
The NFL's got a pretty nice deal with DirecTV and other venues. To keep it off of cable. And it's probably what's kept DirecTV and Dish, certainly DirecTV has been a big part of the growth of, that's what I wouldn't have DirecTV if they didn't have the NFL and were exclusive to the NFL, but I do. And they get hundreds of dollars a month from me every single month.
Working hard for the money, both Donnie and Teddy here on That Betting Show. Tomorrow, we'll set you up for that weekend in the NBA. We'll take a look at a live Masters leaderboard tomorrow and Major League Baseball. Much more right here on That Betting Show, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs. He's Teddy Savransky. Give him a follow at Teddy_Covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at Right Side VP, and we will be back tomorrow once again. Have a good night, folks.